Hey, Michigan, this is Mark Gurley with Make Michigan Great Again. We're here to talk to you today about the Ludington Cross, the Pierre Marquette Cross in Ludington that's under attack from an atheist. I've invited Mark Petzold from the River City Patriots and the Sons of Liberty to come in and talk a little bit about what's going on with this and what you and I can do about it as Michigan citizens to take a stand for our rights, particularly our religious freedom with the cross. So, Mark, tell me a little history on what's going on with this cross.
Well, people may have heard about the different battles going on in Michigan from the Grand Haven Cross a couple of years ago. Now it's the history's being repeated yet again up in Ludington, where this gentleman, he has an organization called Freedom from Religion, is going after these small government entities, local government entities, and intimidating them, threatening to sue them, and putting them in a real challenging spot, quite honestly. And he's been pretty successful to this point.
So it's a fear tactic, like being a thug.
Yeah, very much like a thug. Yes.
Well, freedom from religion. I mean, if the Pharisees would have gotten freedom from religion, we probably would have gotten somewhere as a Christian organization a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned that he could have success because there's not enough Christians willing to speak up and do anything about it. What do you think we can do?
Yeah, well, what's happening is honestly, for generations, we've not really learned totally about our American heritage, and not even necessarily so much about our biblical Christian heritage, and so these challenges actually create opportunities for us to actually discuss these things and to go a little bit further. And really what I'm asking people to do is just be patient and listen to what's being said for a little bit, because it's not overly complicated, but we tend to get mired down into semantics. And so the first thing to do is just kind of understand the situation. There's lots of articles that'll help, but this starts with understanding the Establishment Clause, and understanding the history behind the Establishment Clause. Thomas Jefferson was a source, or is a source, for the distorted view of the separation of church and state. That was the way that's being portrayed today is exactly opposite of what he meant by that.
Because it's not in the Constitution.
It is not in the Constitution.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it was to keep the state out of the church, not the church out of the state.
Exactly. He wrote a letter. You might have heard about it was just simply a letter to concerned Baptists, honestly, that they were concerned that the First Amendment, just being written, would actually open up the door to have their religious freedoms be infringed on, which apparently those Baptists were pretty accurate, because the First Amendment is being distorted and used, and instead of being self-evident, it's being outlined even in clear form in the First Amendment. And so it's actually created a debate. What did the First Amendment mean, instead of just being a self-evident truth that we have a right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Part of the pursuit of happiness is free expression of your faith, freedom of conscience, basic things like that. So understand that the separation of church and state is actually totally backwards. The churches should not be beholden to the government in any way, shape, or form of what they say. We've allowed that to creep into our culture, that people, pastors, the church body as a whole are afraid to speak, and that's got to be dealt with.
Yeah. Well, Michiganders, one thing we can do for sure is we're going to request that all of you pray. Pray that God's will be done and that this cross not be removed. I mean, this isn't really even a religious symbol as much as it is a memorial to Pierre Marquette, who was a Jesuit priest, and this is one of the areas that he came to in the 1600s. Mm-hmm. So first of all, pray. Second of all, January 23rd at 6:30 in the Peterson Auditorium behind the high school, there is going to be a town council meeting, and there's been so much interest in this, they moved it away from their council areas so that they can hold it in a larger facility. I want everybody who can get to Ludington on January 23rd at 6:30 to show up. Be prepared to speak. I mean, you may have a chance to speak, but more than anything, even if you're not speaking, your presence shows that this is an important issue, and you can be praying while other people are speaking, and just be praying that the town council has a backbone, that they would say, this thing has been here for a long time. This is part of our city, part of our culture, and we're not going to let one atheist and a few people tied to freedom from religion bully us into doing something different.
Right. If you don't knowing that you may not talk and probably won't talk, wear a cross. Wear a basic, emblem of faith, and just know that your presence there alone speaks volumes, and it really does. My understanding is that the council is not really there. They don't want this to happen. They don't want it to be taken down.
They want to keep the cross.
They want to keep it. That's my understanding.
But they'll have a lot more courage if a lot of people are in the room, since they moved it to an auditorium.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's what your presence does. It basically, you show up on the battlefield for that day, and your presence matters.
Yeah. I'm going to tell a quick story based on that. The Michigan Oak Initiative, which owns the trademark for Make Michigan Great Again, is part of the Oak Initiative, a national organization, and Rick Joyner's the president, and he was told by congressmen in Washington, D.C., that they would be able to get more done if they felt like the church was standing behind them.
Oh, yeah.
That they're almost a little timid to do things because they don't think the church has their back. So here's a real great opportunity in our own state and in the town of Ludington over there on the lakeshore to let this town council know that the church has their back and that we're showing up in large numbers.
Yep. Just understand our American form of government supports that cross being there. That cross is an emblem of our faith, and it's our duty to bring our light to our community. So stand on your faith and stand on your American heritage.
Yeah, I think that's a real good thing to close with. Stand on your faith, stand on your American heritage, be proud to be in Michigan, and let's make Michigan great again. God bless you all.